What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. So it has been a little minute since we sat down, talked garden plans and all that happy stuff. I think we have just obviously been in the season of doing outside, but it is a rainy day today. And last night I went on ahead and pulled out my seed collection because it is about that time that we start thinking about the fall garden. So I had to laugh at myself a little bit because I legit have not touched my planner since, I want to say April. Yeah, like the first week of April, first or second week of April. All right, so like I said, I went on ahead, I pulled out my seeds, figured out what I would possibly need to shop for, but then I remembered Survival Garden Seed provided me with a beautiful kit. If you guys are interested in those seed kits, I will leave all the links to them down in the description below. You do have a coupon code down there and it is an affiliate, so I will get a kickback from any sales that you guys make from my link. But yeah, so I'm already provided for, thank you God. But I went on ahead, I went through, I separated everything out to make it all make sense, and I began some simple plans. So first of all, I need to begin to create space in my garden. There were a lot of things that I needed to harvest, and then really thinking about the placement and how I can begin to put these things in small waves as opposed to tearing everything out and then putting everything back in. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of these things we can slowly begin filling in the garden as some of the other, like, you know, older spring things come out, and some of the summer stuff as we're beginning to harvest some of that stuff as well. So let's just go on ahead, dive in. We ain't gonna get too deep into the planning aspect of it all, but let's talk about the varieties that I plan to start for the fall garden. So like I said, I went on ahead using the same little system that I always use. I have a 12-week, an 8-week, a 6-week, and a 4-week container, and then I have a direct sow container. So let's start in the direct sow. Do I want to start? No. Let's start with the things that I have to begin indoors. So obviously these things will need a little bit more time to get started and to mature before we put them out into the garden. All of our, you know, cabbages and things like that. So real quick, let's go through and see what it do. So as far as kales, I just have 2 different kales here. And these are kind of like, these are my favorites. I have the lacinato kale and then some red Russian. I grew both of these last fall. They did absolutely fantastic. The red Russian came back again. Actually, both of these came back in the spring. So these are tried and true. These will definitely hold space in my garden this year. As far as cabbages, I have 4 different types of cabbages. I want to do better when it comes to these damn cabbages, y'all. I struggle just about I want to say there was 1 year that I successfully grew cabbage from seed, and I want to say it was only like my 2nd or 3rd year gardening. But we're gonna try again because in the spring we failed, but we ain't gonna do that again. So first things first, we have our Copenhagen, we have some Savoy, we have Mermaid's Tail, which, ooh, maybe I don't have any Mermaid's Tail. There might be 2 seeds left in here, so maybe not. And then we have our Napa cabbage. So once again, all of these things you probably have seen me mention before. Not all of them I have been successful with, so we're gonna try it again. Moving on to broccolis. We have broccoli, cauliflower, and then Brussels sprouts. I have never successfully grown Brussels sprouts before, and come to think of it, I've never successfully grown cauliflower either, but This is going to be a year of preparation and just like, you know, really going for things. Whether we are fully successful or not, you're not going to learn unless you keep trying, child. So we're going to keep trying. We have some purple broccoli, which last year I started and it got way too cold, way too quick. So those got completely wiped out. We have the Watham's 29 broccoli. We have the green sprouting calabrese, I don't know, girl. That one. We have a self-blanching cauliflower, and then the Long Island improved Brussels sprouts. So all of these things I will be starting indoors. These tend to favor a little cooler weather situation. Therefore, all of these will be growing under grow lights until they reach like a certain point of maturity, and then I'll go on ahead and leave them outside because I don't need anything in my basement to die. Real talk. All right, so moving on to our 8-week container. Most of these are beets, and we have some kohlrabies as well. I can probably start the kohlrabi a little sooner. I don't know yet. We'll see how it goes. So this year was like a really successful year with beet starting. And this was also the first year that I started all of them indoors. So I will be doing the same thing with the beets, putting them in like trays, heavily seeded, and then separating them out and plugging them into the garden. I mean, they absolutely did amazing using that method this year. So I will be doing the same thing for the fall. And I don't know that the flavor, I would assume the flavor will be a little different in the fall, but we shall see. So some of these beets are the same ones that I have already grown this year. So we have the Blushing Not Bashful. Y'all, this is like the sweetest beet that I've ever tasted in my life. And it doesn't have like that dirt-like taste so much. But this is good, y'all. So if you have not tried this variety, again, this is Blushing Not Bashful, and this is from Fruition Seeds. I haven't seen this variety anywhere else. So that guy, we have Early Wonder, Golden Boy, and then we have this Gourmet Blend, which probably has the Golden Boy, hold on, the Detroit Dark Red, Chioggia, and golden beets in here. And then again, we have some kohlrabis, just the early white Vienna, and then the purple Vienna here. And then I want to try my hand at growing some rutabagas because I have failed with that every single year as well. So we just have some American purple top. All of these will be started indoors as well, just not as early as like our cabbages and things. All right, our 6-week container. Let's get into it, honey. Most of these are our leafy green things, outside of the kale, obviously. More like lettuces and stuff. So a lot of these things, again, favor the cooler weather, which is why we will be starting these up once it cools off a little bit, closer to that 6-week until frost situation. Actually, I can probably start some of these now and like have a earlier wave of the lettuce, which I might end up doing. I don't know. I haven't quite decided yet. We'll see what happens. But I know that these can also do well in shade. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. We have some wasabi arugula. The Lola Rosa, I thought this was absolutely stunning in the garden. I didn't get a lot of success with all of my seedlings because there was a lot of neglect on my part. Not because they didn't do well, but because I didn't do well. We have some oak leaf lettuce, some arugula, Bloomsdale spinach. I don't know how this got in here, but sure. Some cilantro. We have Marvel of Four Seasons. Now this one actually does well in the hotter weather, so I can actually sow some of this now and it should be completely fine to munch on like maybe in 2 weeks time or so. So I'm actually going to set this guy to the side because I might go on ahead and start a succession of that. Then we have more greens. So we have some bok choy, I'm sorry. This is the Green Fortune. We have Black Knight Tatsoi. some Swiss chard, which I will go on ahead and start some of that now too, because that also does not mind warmer weather. We have some mustard greens. We have the giant red, and then we have the mustard spinach. So all of these will tend to appreciate the cooler weather. So we're not going to get these outside immediately, but you know, things might change if I'm being honest. If I'm really feeling like chaos gardening vibes, then I might just start all of these, like probably in a tray, but I'm gonna keep them all outdoors. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. All right, and next here, these are in the 4-week container, but I can actually go on ahead and start a wave of all of these now. What we have here are all of our flowers. So we have some nasturtiums. So we have the climbing nasturtium, which I don't know how much of this is actually climbing. I don't know yet. I have one already out there and it's not climbing. It's supposed to be trailing up that daggone trellis and it ain't doing a dang thing. So we're gonna try it again. We have some cherry rose nasturtium and then the Alaska variegated. You guys, this is probably my favorite one. It's the orange, it's the variegated, what are they called? Leaves? Beautiful. All right, next here we have some calendula. We have a playtime mix. I think that these are absolutely stunning. I just did not grow enough of them. So I will be growing a lot more of these guys because I typically always do the calendula resina variety because they attract like bad bugs and they like stick to it, specifically aphids, but I want some beauty as well. And this will look gorgeous in the fall. And then I also have the zeolites calendula. So that mix there, tell me it ain't stunning. I plan to grow a lot of this. And then I do want to do another wave of zinnias. These are the Queen Lime blush zinnias, which I don't have just a ton of seeds left in there, so I need to get those going like real soon because we don't need that. All right, and let's chat direct sowing. So like I said, some of these things I can go on ahead and get going now, and some of these things I kind of slipped and fell and bumped my head and didn't get sown or resown when I needed to. So again, the Swiss chard and Marvel of 4 Season, I can get those things started now. I started these, I don't know when I started the basil seeds, I think at the 8-week till our final frost point in the spring. I don't know, child. I never re-sowed it because I took them outside to begin hardening off. We got a cold snap. They all zapped dead to the bed, child. It was real bad. And I just never re-sowed it. So I'm going to try to sow them again. I feel like I could do a direct sow situation. Maybe I'm lying. Okay, so it says best to start indoors in the early spring, 6 to 8 weeks before. I mean, yeah, I'm late. I'm tardy for the party, but I'm gonna try it anyways. So I am going to just sow these in little pots, get them going tall enough until I can put them out into my raised beds. And we're gonna see if we can get a little bit of roselle. This is the Zinger hibiscus, which creates like those roselle type pods that you can make tea out of. It's also known as like Jamaican tea. So that's what this is. We're gonna try. I mean, that's all we can do, right? And then Tromboncino squash. I grew this last year for the first time. I loved it. I don't know why I didn't sow more of this for this year. I feel like I kind of second guess myself. I'm like, no, because I really want to focus on things that like are going to be things that I cook a lot of. And I did get a lot of this. No, not a lot. I probably got like 3 or 4 fruit off of the vine, but it was a lot of food, but I never ate it. So I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about whether or not I want to direct sow more of these, but we'll see. And then I never pulled these out of my collection. I don't know what's wrong with me. These are the Dragon Tongue bush beans. These are absolutely amazing. Right now, it's like the perfect time to direct sow some beans. Beans are very fast producers and they do really well, especially in my area. So we're going to be sowing some more of these. And then as for another bean that we want to get going are some provider beans. I'm focusing heavy on beans because my family really enjoys beans, and I really missed out on a lot of like my pole beans producing because the stanky bugs. But I feel like we are past that point because I just checked today before it started raining. A lot of my beans have come up. They look great. No bug damage, no nothing. So I feel like now is a good time for me to plant out some more bush beans. That way at least I can get a good harvest before, you know, before whatever. I don't even know what I'm saying. Anyways, so that's all stuff that I can sow right now as far as direct sowing. But then more things that I want to plan to direct sow for the fall garden. Obviously, more carrots. So my carrots I have not harvested yet. I did pull a test one earlier just to see where we were at with things. It definitely needs more time, but I want to think ahead and definitely have more carrots underway. So I will be direct sowing some Shin Kuroda. These are thicker carrots. Maybe I'll get some nice carrots. Maybe I won't. I don't know. If you guys have any tips for sowing your carrots, I thought about actually, as I'm thinking about it, I can put these in the grow bag that I had my potatoes in because I hear they do really well in like potting soil. So maybe I won't put these in my raised beds. I'll go on ahead and sow them in that bag. Boom. I already know what I'm doing now. All right. So, and the other ones is the Danvers 126. All right. And then of course, radishes. So I have all of these radish seeds that I just fail at like getting sowed. I did a huge sowing of radishes earlier in the spring. Got nothing, child. Them daggone squirrels tore up everything. And then the ones that were remaining, it got hot really quick and they all just, it was just a done deal. So I'm hoping for success in the fall with my radishes. And what I plan to do with these is honestly dumping them all in a bowl, mixing them up and like sowing them real thick in one like block of area to just have a ton of daggone radishes. So we have the German Giant. We have the Black Spanish, which, no, we don't. We don't have that. We have the Hailstone Radish, which I think this is so stunning. We have Purple Plum, which I love these. I love the shape of them. They're itty bitty little guys, but they are so cute. And then Watermelon Radish. I have never successfully grown one of these. I am determined. So we'll see. Yeah. But all of these seeds are pretty old. So I'm really hoping, like I said, I plan to mix them all up, fill out a full block of area in the garden to grow these, and yeah, hopefully we'll have success. But that is what we will be direct sowing for the fall garden. Yeah, I think I pretty much covered all of my bases. I know a lot of this stuff I probably should get going like ASAP, especially like my cabbages and things like that. And actually, the more and more I'm thinking about it, I can probably get all of these things started all at once. And as things become available to put out into the garden, things will be getting cleared out. And so I can just poke them in here and there. And then obviously the bigger, bulkier items such as the broccoli and cabbage, all of that stuff will go in a little later in season. And by then it'll be mature enough to go out and have space and all of that stuff. So I'm thinking more and more, that's what I might end up having to do. As opposed to like the spring garden, you start things like as you get closer to that final frost, just because everything is indoors and you want yeah, you don't want a overwhelming, huge plant to like still be in your house. But for the most part, all of this stuff is probably going to end up outside, like I said. So I might be good to just start all of this stuff all at once. Tell me what you guys think. Is that how y'all work it? Or am I tripping? I feel like for the fall, it makes sense to have all of this stuff going at once and then slowly start like phasing stuff out as it becomes a point, or as it becomes to like, you know, the size of maturity that you need it to be to transplant out. Does that make any sense? I feel like as I'm like, the more and more I'm talking, the more and more I'm thinking, and I'm getting myself confused. My lighting is getting terrible. It's really dark outside right now. I'm sure you can see a little bit out there. We've been getting storms all day, which has actually been nice. I danced in the rain earlier a little bit too. It was fun. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up this video. Let me know some things that you guys are planning to start in your fall garden. How do you go about things? Do you just plant everything all at once and then slowly transplant out? Or do you start things in phases, kind of like how we do in the spring? Let me know. Can't wait to hear. I thank you all so much for stopping by. I wish you all health, wealth, and prosperity. And until the next time, peace.